and welcome to the Jet Experience. Today is a really special day. We drove down to LA, just west of downtown, to the Petersen Automotive Museum, which I've never heard of, but came up on the radar because Ashley found out, as you can see behind my this shoulder, Tesla CYBERTRUCK. So we're gonna go get a walk around of that. We're gonna explore the museum a little bit because I'm not really sure what this museum's all about. So come along and join us on this experience. All right, so it's pretty cleared out. There's not a whole lot of people around here right now. This is an absolute beauty. I know a lot of people have been super critical about its looks, but I gotta be honest, I'm really a big fan. I've been a fan of it since the unveiling of it, and it's just as neat in person. Plus you can really see what's going on with it. I'm about 5'6", so I'm looking at this here, and that looks like that's probably about an even 6 feet tall, give or take. Very almost like rugged, futuristic looking wheels. You've got the camera, the side camera right here, which I'm kind of looking at the angle, and it looks like it's gonna couple as the side view mirror, which are absent on this car. They've got Goodyear tires on it, and there's security right there. He was yelling at somebody not to get too close because they do have a line up around it because they don't want anybody touching the car. Here's a beautiful front view, very minimalist. The lights are very low profile. They're like a ½ an inch wide. So come around the front. Hopefully I can get a decent shot inside the cockpit. We'll try and get the plaque too. They don't really want people stopping too much. Look it up. A little hard to see because they've got severe tint over the whole thing, but I can, as I look up, you're not going to be able to see it here. Actually, you can. How it's got the glass roof as well. It sounds like it was actually kind of inspired by Blade Runner a little bit. The Spy Who Loved Me. Oh, they've got the back is all closed up. It would have been cool if they had it open so we could see what it looked like inside. And then here's CYBERTRUCK, and you can make it out that there's a camera right here and then a camera right here, which probably helps. That's what's going to feed the mirror inside, since the rear view mirror is going to be all digital, because there's no way you can see through any of this. Try and get down for a minute. We'll see all the way underneath it. There's the tow hitch right there, and that's a decent clearance. I'd say between 12 to 18 inches. Oh, let's turn it back over a little bit. I kind of turned to the side. That's about 12 to 18 inches of clearance. And right next to the CYBERTRUCK, they've got 2018 Audi R8 Sculpture, similar to the one from Iron Man and Avengers films that Tony Stark drove. Very cool. And then right next to that is a Lightning McQueen. Pretty much a life-size copy of it. And here's Stark 5, which is a 1932 Ford Flathead Roadster from Iron Man and Iron Man 2. So as far away from a Tesla as you could get, here is the first practical car, the 1886 Benz Patent Motor Wagon. It's a replica, of course. But here, you can pause again if you want to read a little bit of it. And that's definitely no Tesla by any means. And here's a couple cars from Back to the Future 2, or this says as depicted in, so they're probably models or prototypes.
It's supposed to look in 2015.
Yep, so yep, that's right, because it took place in 2015. So this is what the cars were supposed to look like in 2015. I dare say they don't. 48 GMC FC101 half ton, which is a little bit of a much long predecessor to the Cybertruck. Not the same company, of course. In this row, we've got a 1966 Volkswagen Transporter Deluxe, and reading it real quick, it was a school bus for African Americans in the 60s, late 60s, having to do with Jim Crow laws. This is definitely not a prototype, it's a real thing. It's basically rusting. Shot on the inside. Get a shot of this real quick if somebody wants to read it. Come around and get the other side. Yep, it's completely missing the back door. Citizens committees. So this is something really special here. The 2017 Volkswagen ID Buzz concept car, forward and rear motors, 275 kilowatt power combined with a top speed of 99 miles per hour, which is limited, and it is an electric VW bus basically. So zoom in a little bit, you can see the cockpit there with the like a rectangle steering area. It's got an iPad mounted in there. It actually looks like it's built in. And then you can see this seat is completely turned around. I'm trying not to be too shaky since I'm zoomed in right now. With a full width bench seat in the back. And then it looks like there's lots of conversions that can be done on the floor, whether they open up or it's probably storage or something. Very neat looking. And then all the way up to the front. Let's see. Oh, I can get a shot over here of the front of it. So now we're really in the predecessors to Tesla, a 1915 Detroit electric Model 61. I'm not even going to try and pronounce that. Was it Brigham, maybe? 20 mile an hour top speed with 80 miles of range. Let me come around here so we can get a side view of it. Neat looking car. Does not look very aerodynamic at all though. It's basically like a cylinder sitting on top of a chassis. But a very, very cool car all the same. And for lots of people watching, obviously, I drive a Model S, and here is the Model S concept. So different look. You've got a port right here that looks just like a gas cap, basically. The handles are similar, and I'll try and get a really good shot of the interior. You can tell the seats are different on the back. There's none of the built-in headrests. This had just very standard, basic style headrests. A little bit of a redesign on the cockpit, so to speak, the instrument cluster. The biggest part being that this has an actual middle console, whereas the Model S as is does not have one. Very standard, like lighting panels, and then also a pretty decent redesign on the front. Let me get the plaque of this. It's a 2009 Tesla Model S prototype. But I'm going to pause on here real quick, and you can pause the screen to read it, or pause the video. And there's Elon standing in front of it, and you can see it's got that charge port there. Only one of them built, so this one. And this is the 2020 Bollinger Prototype. Try and see if I can get the focus inside. There we go. Very different than most of the EVs right now, and to include like a very standard style instrument panel and very basic. And for anybody who hasn't seen the documentary on YouTube called Revenge of the EV, it's an excellent documentary, and a lot of it covers some of this. It's the 1996 General Motors EV1. I'm surprised they actually were able to get one, since General Motors tried to basically gobble them all back up and get rid of them. Relatively small car. Definitely a two-seater, but some unique kind of storage in the back. I know from the documentary, Danny DeVito had one of these. A 96 Corbin Sparrow personal transport pod. This looks like something straight out of like Dr. Seuss. We have a 1994 U.S. electric car GTP. Kind of a nice. The range was 45 to 70 miles at 80 miles per hour top speed. Not a awful looking car per se. Kind of looks like a truck and like a Corvette had a baby almost. Right off the nose of the S prototype, here's what started it all. 2008 Tesla Roadster. Big part of that documentary is also about basically the Roadster, the Chevy Volt, and the Nissan Leaf. And I have seen one of these in person at an EV event. A whole bunch of Teslas were there, and one guy brought his Roadster. He was letting people stand in it. Or I mean, sit in it, not stand in it. It's very, very short. Like, it's less than 4 feet tall, it looks like. And then you can see the same kind of circular charge port right here as the Model S prototype. So as we're working our way down to the first floor, here's Bumblebee standing in the stairwell. Here's the back side of Bumblebee with his Volkswagen doors open. And we're coming around. He is quite tall. And here are the Tron Light Cycles full-scale model from the Tron Legacy with a rider on it, which is very cool. How they're integrated into it. And that's one of the newest rides that will be opening at Disney World, is the Light Cycle roller coaster. And then here's the Clue 2.0 suit. And then a couple of small little like props. And then right up above it is the Flynn's arcade sign. And right behind the Light Cycle is the 1981 DeLorean Time Machine. Looks like there's the flux capacitor all fired up. All we got to do is hop in and get this guy up to 88 miles an hour. Here's a land speeder from Star Wars. Star Wars: A New Hope. And we're coming up on a Lexus from Minority Report. Very neat looking car. I would drive something that looked like this. And they've got some props from Minority Report right here. Oh, yep. And as Ashley was saying, here's the science fiction area. Probably a lot of it's going to be futuristic stuff. Here's a car, a 2019 LAPD police spinner from Blade Runner 1982. Also not quite what cars look like in 2019. And then here's another police car. also from Blade Runner. So two very different types of police cars. There's the Model T 800 Terminator from Salvation 2009.
Wow, that's a robot suit.
And then the Moto Terminator, also from the same movie. And right next to it is a Biker Hound motorcycle from AI, Artificial Intelligence 2001. And then behind the Hound cycle, or the Hound motorcycle, is vehicles and a helicopter, an amphibicopter, also all from AI. Here's a 2042 Chevy police cruiser from Demolition Man with Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes. Oh, and they've got it actually open so you can get it without glare. And I wanted to get a long lengthwise shot over here. This entire back row of cars is from Blade Runner. And then right next to it, we've got the 1966 Mongrel T, the Joker Mobile from the 60s series. And then the Batmobile right next to it. And then here's a slightly more newer Batmobile from Batman Returns. Very, very cool. And then as I come around, here's Batman, which definitely, the face looks like Michael Keaton, and sure enough the plaque says it's worn by Michael Keaton. So this is the actual Batsuit. And here from the Christopher Nolan films is the Bat Cycle. Very cool. And then there's Christian Bale as Batman on the wall. The 2008 Wayne Enterprises Bat Pod. So this was our experience of Petersen Automotive Museum. I personally had no idea this was here. It's a very, very cool museum, especially if you like cars, and they have a motorcycle exhibit as well. You got to see exactly what we came here to see, which was the Tesla CYBERTRUCK. Very excited for it. I'm still looking to get one of those. They have it's been reported they have about 600,000 reservations right now. So it might take a little while to get one, but I'm definitely excited for it. So I hope you liked our experience and walkthrough of the museum. If so, please give us a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. If you click the bell below, you'll get notifications of all of our future videos. As always, please remember to be kind and be real, and join us on our next experience.